Hello everyone, welcome to the Ferrari Challenge Round 5. Here we are in the south of France at Le Castellet. Race 1 for our Trofeo Pirelli drivers, the mix of Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers. And here in the south of France, which looks beautiful, it feels beautiful as well because the temperature is absolutely awesome. As you can see, we reached the second half of our 2024 calendar, having been to Mugello, to Balaton, to Jerez, to Portimao. Here we are in the south of France before heading off to the Nürburgring. And then it is the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy for the final race weekend in the middle of October. So the track then here at the Paul Ricard circuit is something of a test for our drivers, that's for sure. And as you can see, the first sector and the third sector, very, very technical across the 5.842 kilometers. 15 turns, 6 left, 9 of them are right-handers. The track hosted its first race back in 1970, can you believe? Making me feel even older than I am. 52 degrees is the track temperature. The air temperature is 31 degrees with 6 kilometers per hour of wind. Just taking the edge off the temperature, I have to say. There we can see the cars in preparation, and Giacomo Altoe, who is an awesome racing driver and an awesome qualifier, has put the car on pole position once again. And he's taken 4 wins so far this season, and he missed the first round. Giacomo Altoe then has been a really, really extraordinary find, and another one of the young drivers making their name for themselves in the Ferrari Challenge. Let's take a look at what happened then last time out at Portimao in Portugal in terms of Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. Well, riding on board then, you can see that 1 or 2 drivers finding themselves pointing in the wrong direction. Klaus Sebranson was not one of those, and nor too was Luca Ludwig, who got himself past Giacomo Altoe and would celebrate victory in race 1, and all was looking good for Luca Ludwig in the second race. However, an off there causing problems for the car, and Giacomo Altoe was able to take advantage. Now, Hendrik Viol was looking good, but he would pick up a disqualification. It would be Klaus Sebranson that would win for the Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers. So that was how it looked very briefly in Portimao. How does it look going into Le Castellet? Well, Giacomo Altoe qualified pole position for Trofeo Pirelli drivers, and guess what? Klaus Sebranson, Am driver, P1 again from qualifying, Nico. He's on a rich vein of success at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. His speed throughout the season was never in doubt, but through events 2 and 3, he had some very, very unlucky moments, a little bit of a misfortune here and there, but he's really rebounded. He didn't let that deter him, and now you could see that also fortune favored him in some moments, and he made the most of it, and he swooped in very late in the qualifying to take that pole position in class. And yeah, obviously Formula Racing, his team, are giving him a great car to work with. So yeah, he's now leading the championship after being down quite a little bit.
Yes. Into Trofeo Pirelli, Nico, Luca Ludwig, I think it's fair to say, was very, very disadvantageous. He was disadvantaged in race 2. We saw him have the off there as we looked at the recap, and he's had to pick himself up, and I think he's done that very well. He's qualified P2. He's on the front row alongside Giacomo Altoe. Somebody that's perhaps out of position in qualifying is Philip Barron, who we saw very briefly there. He'll be starting the race way down the order relatively for a Trofeo Pirelli driver of his quality, so he'll be doing some overtaking. Giacomo Altoe, he's going to come under threat, I think, from Luca Ludwig right at the start of this race.
Yeah, Luca Ludwig showed some pace in qualifying, had a lap that he wasn't able to finish, and that put him into P2, which is a respectable position, but not where he would have liked to. And yeah, we've got 3 Pirelli drivers among the Pirelli amps, but they are bunched up in position 11, 12, and 13. That's Baron, Madler, and Mugelli. So you kind of expect this 3-way Pirelli sandwich to try and move up the order. And Henrik Viol, who was leading the championship in the AMS, is going to be the first in their target sites.
Yes, you're right, because whether you're a Pirelli driver and therefore run the red strip across the top of the windscreen, or you're a Pirelli AM driver and you run the white strip across the top of the windscreen, where you qualify overall is where you start, Nico.
Yes, exactly. And that means we've got 5 Pirelli drivers, then we've got 5 Pirelli AM drivers, and then the final 3 Pirelli drivers before the rest of our 26-car strong grid lines up behind them in Pirelli AM driver bunches.
So there is the Giacomo Altoe car then. He is engineered by Emil Frey Racing, of course, a racing team that are renowned for success across a number of categories, not only the Ferrari Challengers, the Scuderia Prague tyre trolley goes off. I didn't look to see whether there were any wet weather tyres on the truck. It would have been completely unnecessary if there were, but another young driver is the Radici Automobili driver Luigi Coluccio, who also looked very, very good in qualifying. Qualified eventually P5, just bested by former Formula One star and all-round entertainer Timo Glock, who's on the grid as well. Now, it's not Timo's first showing in the Ferrari Challenge. He was at the first round at Mugello and did a very good job. He didn't get a win, but he certainly podiumed in both of the races and qualified really well as well. And you just know that whenever Timo Glock is on a grid of cars, that he's going to try and do some overtaking and be very entertaining and give us great television, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. And he not only brings out the best in the terms of entertainment for the race, but you can sense that it also entices the other drivers because he's a target, obviously. They want to get on terms with him and try and beat him. Axel starting half and just said, you know, I've got to go there. It's Timo Glock.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And, of course, Timo is not the only one. We've had a number of Formula One drivers in the Ferrari Challenge. Most recently, of course, Adrian Sutil, of course, was one of them. We can see the number 85 car of Hanno Laskowski did a very good job in qualifying as well. He qualified P3 for the Pirelli AM drivers, but qualifying P1 for the Pirelli AM drivers was Klaus Zabranson, I should say, who's had some wins this season. And he, of course, is engineered by Formula Racing. Let's meet the team now.
So, of course, it was natural for me to join the Formula Racing team. They have been super successful with the past, and now I got the opportunity to race this season, and it's wonderful. I think it's critical to have the right team around you. I tried racing before, but I've never grown up with go-karting and so forth. So it is important to have the right engineers, the right mechanics, and the right coaches around you. And it seems to be working extremely well for me to have the mechanics and the engineers to help me out on doing the right pace of the race.
It does, luckily, a lot of clients, and we also have some pro drivers joining the Ferrari Challenge, and for us it's always a great experience to work with all these drivers, no matter if it's AM or pro drivers. So we see a lot of drivers joining in, and this year it's we are happy.
I think the key of the challenge program is that you have different kind of groups and different kind of races. So everybody is friendly around each other, and of course within the garage everybody is cheering for you and for others to compete and of course finalize, but also being on the podium and spray that champagne.
Really interesting. The team manager from Formula Racing Tour, who we heard from there, raced in a category of racing that I commentated on 100 years ago. Not quite 100, but
85.
Okay, we're about ready then to go racing. As you can see, the 30-second board has been held up. Then formation lap, as always, behind the safety car. It's a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge. And this is Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM. Right, the safety car moves now. Right, so it's 5 seconds late. I'll make a report to this to race control. Look at that, Nico. Supposed to go when I say. I mean, come on. Right, the Richard Mills safety car leading the cars away. We'll bring you the grid in full then of all our Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. And we go from back to front. David Akabadze goes from P26 with Armin Arfpour alongside. Then it's Otto Blank and Matthias Thoman. On the 11th row, we find Lara Villars and Cameron Campbell. He looked pretty lively in qualifying earlier on. Andreas Boris and Gianmarco Marzioletti go from P20 and 19. Then it's Danilo Del Favero and Herbert Geis. They are P18 and P17. P16 is James Owen. P15 is Axel Sartingen. Then we find Andreas Berg Sorensen, the best of the AM drivers there, and alongside him, as we go to the next row, Dylan Medler, we could see Andrew Morrow and Hendrik Viol then are on the 5th row of the grid. To the 4th row, where we find Hanno Laskovski and Marco Zanazzi. They're P8 and P7. P6, Klaus Branson, Luigi Coluccio goes from P5. Then it's Timo Glock, Ben Svalint going from P3. And then on the front row of the grid, it's Luca Ludwig, P2, and Giacomo Altoe going from P1. And he is the pole man. Let's hear from him now.
Yeah, so an amazing pole position here in Policar for Q1. The car was amazing, so I really have to thank you, the team, MFR Racing, MFR Sportivo. We worked a lot in the car actually, so we did some big step forward, and now we are very happy about this pole position. For sure the field is really competitive this race. They are all quite close, so it will be a tough race, but I will do my best to bring it home.
Thank you, Giacomo Altoe. We know you will do your best to bring it home. That's what you always do. We're on the Mistral Straight right now ahead of the start of the race. Delighted to welcome alongside me Ferrari factory driver Lilou Vadoux. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here. We really appreciate it very much. Easy, isn't it, for Giacomo just to disappear up the road and win this race, isn't it?
I'm super happy to be here. Yeah, we'll see. We have a really good condition, and it can be a really nice race. We saw the last race before, was good, so I hope we will have the same.
Lilou, how, being French, how do you cope with these temperatures? Because by Jiminy, it is hot today, isn't it?
It's really hot, yeah, 30 degrees, and it's normal at this period in France.
Yes.
But yeah, it's hot, and it will be tough on the car, I think, for every driver.
Just while we reach the conclusion of this formation lap, remind us, in what categories are you racing this season?
This season I am doing the Super GT in GT 300 with the Ferrari 296, and next to I am doing the LMP2 in IMSA.
Wow, wow. So spending a lot of time in Asia then, aren't you? Well done. Great. And, of course, factory driver for Ferrari, Lilou. We're delighted to have her alongside us here to bring us her racing driver's viewpoint on some of the action that we will see in this Trofeo Pirelli race, and that action will come thick and fast, I kid you not. For my money, the one to watch out for here is going to be Luca Ludwig right at the very start of the race, but also Timo Glock, who Timo will never settle for anything that doesn't involve a podium. For the AM drivers, Klaus Branson and Marco Zanazzi and Hanno Laskovski and Andrew Morrow all looking very lively as well. I remind you, the Trofeo Pirelli drivers have the red strip across the top of the windscreen. The AM drivers have the white strip across the top of the windscreen. Safety car will peel off into the pit lane. It will be the responsibility of Giacomo Altoe to control the pace of the rolling start then. And is he going to be able to best? Luca Ludwig going into turn number 1. He will be advantaged by being on the right side of the track. However, if Luca Ludwig can get a good start, who knows what will happen going into turn number 1. We keep our eyes on the lighting gantry to the top left-hand side of your screen then. They're red, and now they go out, and let's go racing. Wow, there's a huge kerfuffle behind, and what did I say about Luca Ludwig trying to get a very good start going into turn number 1? Keep your eyes on Luca Ludwig and Timo Glock as well. Luca Ludwig has done it. He is P1. He relegates Giacomo Altoe to P2. Timo Glock trying to come around the outside then as well. However, he lost out initially to Ben Svalint, who's up to P3. And number of cars run very, very wide. There are lots of runoff areas here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, but Luca Ludwig leads this race from Giacomo Altoe. Then it is Benz Valent. Then it is Timo Glock, who's having a real wrestle with Luigi Coluccio over that P4 place, and I think Timo Glock has managed to do it. Then it is Klaus Zebranson, who is the best of the AM drivers. I think it's Hendrik Viol has gone around. Here's one of the front-running Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. He manages to get the car pointing in the right direction again. I think most cars are able to get going again. You can see the medical car right behind. Now, we have got one car stricken, as here there is a fight going on for P2 between Benz Valent and Giacomo Altoe. For the moment, Giacomo Altoe was able to shut the door and say, no way, friend, are you coming through here? I've already lost the lead of the race. I'm not going to lose P2. So it is Luca Ludwig leading from Giacomo Altoe. Then it is Benz Valent P3. Best of the AM drivers, Klaus Zebranson from Hanno Laskowski. And then it is Andrew Morrow, who's running P3 in class. There is our class leader in Trofeo Pirelli AM. So Luca Ludwig will try and stretch his legs and build a margin over Giacomo Altoe right at the very start of this race. So at the moment, we think the stricken car that we saw has got going again, because there's no information on our timing screen to indicate otherwise. So the cars and drivers then begin to settle down a little bit for the long haul of the 28 minutes plus 1 lap remaining in this Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race, the mix of Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers. Hanno Laskowski, we can see there. Now there is Benz Valent, Hungarian driver, chasing down Giacomo Altoe, who is in P2. So Luca Ludwig leading the race. He puts the first lap in the book and stretches his legs to the tune of 1.049 seconds over Giacomo Altoe. So it is Luca Ludwig leading ahead of Giacomo Altoe then. And for the AM drivers, Klaus Zebranson ahead of Hanno Laskowski. That's the way it looks, as diving to the inside there. You can see trying to have a go. Coming into that turn was Herbert Guide. So Lilu, what went wrong there for Giacomo Altoe? He got track position, he was on the right side of the track, but Luca Ludwig just appeared to have a much better start.
Yeah, he had a little bit better start, and at the end the straight is long, so he lost a little bit, and after Ludwig Luca take the advantage in T1, and he was able directly to put a little gap in 1 second to keep Altoe Giacomo behind him.
Yes.
And directly Benz Valent go to fight with him, and for sure that not help to keep the fight for the P1.
Let's see it again here in replay. You can see Luca Ludwig here was really, really trying. And I don't know whether Giacomo Altoe was trying to get something of a slingshot there, but it didn't work because Luca Ludwig was already ahead of the game, wasn't he? And he was able to close the door. And as you say, Giacomo then was having to defend from Benz Valent, wasn't he, rather than thinking about attacking ahead. And Timo Glock was trying to come around the outside. So too was the car of Hendrik Viol. I mean, it was very, very busy right at the start. And Andreas Berg Sorensen, we can see in the mix there, someone taking a shortcut across the runoff area there. Race control will have picked that up. The only thing that I'm worried about, Lilu, is that the start is under investigation. And when we saw that in replay, it looked to me like the P2 driver was ahead of the P1 driver. Do you agree with me?
I am really agree, and I think he jumped the start a little bit, because at the end Altoe was the pole position man, and he managed the gap. It's only him, and after all the rest of the car need to be at the same speed as him. So for me, the start will be maybe under investigation, and for sure maybe some penalty will come later.
Well, there we can see a stricken driver then walking away. Thanks, Lilu. As we can see, the start is under investigation. That's Andreas Berg Sorensen walking away from his car. We've also lost Max Mugelli. So we wait to see what race control say. Start is under investigation. Now, you know, I like Luca Ludwig. I like Giacomo Altoe. I like every driver that races in the Ferrari Challenge. Of course I do. But for my money, having seen the replay, it looked to me like Luca was ahead of Giacomo Altoe when the lights went out. Race control have many more cameras available to them. They have data available to them. The decisions they make are based on fact, not on what I see. So let's see what they have to say. Luca Ludwig has set the fastest lap. Klaus Sebranson has set the fastest lap for the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. And Timo Glock is running in P4, which he will not be happy about. He will want to get past Ben Svalent come heck or high water. Timo is one of those drivers that will throw absolutely everything at the car to get him what he wants. Of course, he's raced in the Ferrari Challenge previously and has been successful previously, being on the podium in both of the races that he contested at the opening round in Mugello. Meantime, lots going on elsewhere as we pick up on some of the battles that are going on. This is Danilo Del Favaro and James Owen. Now, Danilo Del Favaro and James Owen are contesting P5 and P6 for our Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers within class. Overall, it is P11 and P12. Sorry, P12 and P13, I beg your pardon. And then right behind them is Axel Sardingen as well. So interesting to see how this develops. Let's get the telemetry on screen there, and then the speed that these drivers are doing. When the speed indicator goes from green to red, it means they're on the brake pedal. When it's green, they're flat out on the gas. Full chat flat, as we like to say, as they scream down the start-finish straight here, pulling some 260 kilometers per hour before heavy braking into turn number 1. So Danilo Del Favaro and James Owen then having a brilliant battle, but for the moment, James Owen's rear view screen is rather busy with the Axel Sardingen car, so that's why James Owen is not attacking Danilo Del Favaro quite as vigorously as we would think. Meantime, what a pace Luca Ludwig has got, but he's just lost out on the fastest lap. The fastest lap, which also carries a point in this race, has gone the way now of Giacomo Altoe. He's 1.245 seconds behind Luca Ludwig. But we will see. Race control continuing to look at the start under investigation. So Giacomo Altoe chasing this man, Luca Ludwig, who on track is leading the race. But I rather think that Giacomo Altoe is beginning to reel him in just a little bit now. Of course, it's all very well, Lilu, isn't it? Reeling another driver in. You've got to find a way past that driver as well, and that's not so easy, is it?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's 20 minutes. It's a lot and not a lot at the same time. So at the moment they have the same pace, so they are close to the same lap time. And Giacomo Altoe have 1 second behind him, so he must do the job to fin a little tenths every lap to be back on the back of Luca Ludwig. And at the end, after, you need to pass. So it's the worst part normally. So we will see, and that depends how the degradation will be. But I think they know well the car, and they know to manage the degradation with the tire. Today is hot, so I think it will be a good part of the race to manage the tires. So we will see in few laps if the lap time change a little bit or not.
Thanks, Lilu. Yes, 1.2 seconds then as they cross the timing line. Giacomo Altoe has set the fastest lap. Luca Ludwig leading the race. 1.155 seconds to the good at the moment. We'll see if it stays that way. For our Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers, it's Klaus Sebranson leading from Hanno Laskowski, and Klaus Sebranson has given Hanno Laskowski quite a, he's left him for quite a margin. So at the moment, Klaus Sebranson is unthrottled. It's Andrew Morrow running P3 now. Andrew Morrow racing here in Europe, of course, he's the current Trofeo Pirelli UK champion, but racing in both the UK and in Europe as well this season. Here is Luca Ludwig then, race leader, leading by 1.248 seconds at the moment. The gap between the two of them is seesawing a little bit, and I just rather think Luca Ludwig is a hugely experienced, youngish driver who, forgive me for saying youngish, certainly not as young as Giacomo Altoe, but these two have broken away a bit from Ben Svalent, who's running in P3, and at the moment Timo Glock has not been able to really try and threaten Ben Svalent for that P3 position. Meantime, Marco Zanazzi here, and then you could see right behind Danilo Del Favaro and James Owen. James Owen getting very skittish under the brakes, but he made it stick, and he got by the Danilo Del Favaro car, and then Danilo Del Favaro trying to come back but was unsuccessful, and then Axel Sardingen right behind him. Axel Sardingen, of course, moving up, having won Copa Shell Championship last year. There is Giacomo Altoe. It's 1.157, so it is tenths between the two of them is how it's seesawing at the moment. For the moment, Luca Ludwig has got it all seemingly completely under control. He goes through the final turn, and we'll put another lap in the book. Now, for my money, it looks a bit closer now as they cross the timing line. It is closer, but only by a 10th. Luca is just managing this perfectly, and Giacomo, of course, is throwing everything at it. And the top two have broken away a bit from P3, P4, and then P5. Luigi Coluccio, who's got Klaus Sebranson for company. Klaus Sebranson, of course, running in a completely different category. He is a Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli AM driver, and he's leading that class at the moment. So, Luca Ludwig has got a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. We've just seen that on our screen, Lilu. You and I were both convinced. It's on our screen. Car 8, drive-through penalty. How difficult is this as a racing driver? Because, you know, when you're racing the car, you never do anything wrong, and you always disagree with the race stewards, I'm sure. But you know what I'm saying? It must be such a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, for sure, sometimes we are not agree with the decision because sometimes on the car it's difficult to really know and see everything, and you can think you do well, but it's not the case. You don't see everything, all the car and the light, and yeah, for sure you are always good when you have drive-through because you will lose a lot of time. A drive-through here, it can be a lot of seconds, and you will lose a lot of points for the championship.
Yeah.
So it's shame, but it's the race, and sometimes you cannot always win. But I think it's big mistake because you will lose a lot.
Yeah, I always say, Lilu, that motor racing is beautiful, but it can be very brutal as well sometimes, can't it? And that's how he'll be feeling right now. So Giacomo Altoe, for the moment, can... Well, he's not going to focus too much because here comes Luca Ludwig to serve his drive-through penalty. Now, a drive-through penalty is always such a penalty, Lilu, because the time it takes you to drive through the pit lane speed limiter, you're slow. As you say, he's going to lose a lot of time, he's going to lose a lot of places on track and valuable championship points.
Yeah, it's true, and we will see where he will be, but you are at 60 kilometers. And trust me, the straight, the pit lane is super long, and it will be back in top 10, so it can be worse, 11, but for sure, no, to be back on the top 5, it will be really tough.
Yeah, it's going to be a big ask. I have to say, Lilu, I agree with you completely. You and I both looked at the replays, and for me, it looked like a absolutely a fair decision. So Luca Ludwig then, he is running... Well, P4, 5, 6, 7 in the Trofeo Pirelli race now. So what he needs to do is think about trying to get past Marco Sanazzi and Andrew Morrow, which will put him on the back of other Trofeo Pirelli drivers, which he needs to overtake to maximize his points haul. But inevitably, it's not going to be the points haul that he imagined he was going to get. For now, Giacomo Altoe will just put his head down and focus on what he's got to do, because he's got a margin of 5.8 seconds ahead of Ben Svalint now, who is his nearest competitor. Lilu, and forgive me for asking stupid questions, but you're a racing driver and I'm not. Is there ever such a thing as a comfortable margin?
Yeah, it's enough for sure, but after you need to be really careful when you are on the head of the race like that, and not do any mistake, not do track limit, stay focused and keep this pace, not more, to keep this gap close to the same, and 6 seconds is enough, because that only stay 15 seconds. If he didn't do any mistake, it's okay.
Paul Ricard here, this track, it's very easy to do a track limit.
Yeah, it's easy to do a track limit. It's a lot of fast corner, and you always want more. And it's easy to do some little track limit, but at the end, when you do a lot, that puts you a little penalty. And yeah, and sometimes when you are on the car, you don't see like at the exterior you see. So you think you are not in track limit, but you are.
Yes.
So this is not the easy part of track limit, but at the end I think you have you know how to manage the race, and all the driver know the problem of the track limit, And I think this track is really easy to do track limit. We see no gravel, and for sure you always want more, and after is track limit.
Well, the rule of thumb here is basically you get 3 track limits warnings before a penalty is awarded. There is only one driver on 3, no, I beg your pardon, 2 drivers on 3 limits. Unsurprisingly, one is Mr. T. Glock. No surprise. The other one is Lara Villas, which surprises me. So they have got to be a bit careful, because after you've done 3 track limits, the next one, if you do it again, you're going to get a 5-second time penalty, and that's going to hurt you. So let's see who does what, and we'll see how the race develops. We're into the second half of it now, as Hanno Laskowski is under pressure, but he's under pressure from 2 Trofeo Pirelli drivers. That is Philip Barron and Dylan Medler, so it's a non-class battle. Hanno Laskowski has got the advantage, if you like, of these 2 drivers between him and Andrew Morrow, who's the next Trofeo Pirelli AM driver. And in this multi-category race that we have, or 2-category race, you can find yourself in this position where you put almost a comfort cushion of out-of-class drivers between you and the next best one, and that gives you a great sort of safety brake, doesn't it? You can see there is plenty going on behind as Hendrik Viol is trying to make his way back up the order, having gone around earlier on, and Hendrik Viol is currently running, and you've got Danilo Del Favro, Gianmarco Marzialetti, all of those drivers in this mix, along with Andrea Boris as well. So they're contesting places further down in the Trofeo Pirelli AM race. And there you can see the number 23 car of David Akabadze, very different colour to the one that he normally drives, which is all yellow, and one driver going, was that into the pit lane or was that off the track? I'm not quite sure, but I think it was into the pit lane. As David Akabadze had to really hold on to that car, and sideways as David Akabadze is having a real go here, and I think it was Danilo Del Favro that dived into the pit lane. Here comes Hendrik Viol taking a look at the inside of David Akabadze. That was a brave move, but he was big and bold, and he was determined to do it. And in fairness to David Akabadze, he gave him racing room to do so. Now Hendrik Viol is one of these drivers that needs to make up the places, because he got turned around right at the start of the race, and therefore he's much further down the order than he wants to be. And right now he is going to try and take this race to the driver that is P15 at the moment, which is Andreas Boris, who drives for the Formula Racing team. So this is for P15, 16 and 17 in the overall race standings, but when it comes to class standings, it is for P8, P9 and P10. So wherever you look, there is plenty of action going on. Giacomo Altoe continuing to lead the race with a margin of 8.6 seconds over Ben Svalint. And then it is Timo Glock in P3, who is a couple of seconds behind Ben Svalint now. So we stay with this fight that is going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 5 cars involved in this. And in the live championship, if everything were to finish now, Klaus Sabrands would be P1. Marco Zanazzi, you see, would move up to P2. And this man, Hendrik Viol, would drop a place in the championship. And because we're very much into the second half of the championship, that's why Hendrik Viol is so determined to try and gain every possible place that he can. I know we say this often, Lilou, but you being as successful as you are, and you'll tell me, Dave, you're right, every single point is critical, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. At the end of the season, sometimes you count the point one by one, and every point is always very important for the championship at the end. For sure, when you are in the first race, you say, okay, it's just P5 and not P4, but it's like 2 points. But maybe at the end, you are champion with 1 point more, so it's super important to always give the maximum as you can, to take a lot of points. And yeah, at the end, you will see where you are, but always give everything until the end, and take some really important point for the championship.
Thank you, Lilou. We're delighted Lilou Radu alongside us then, the Ferrari factory driver, giving us her expert opinion as being a top racing driver, as indeed she is. And Giacomo Altoe leading by 9.731 seconds now. A remarkable achievement as we run the telemetry of Giacomo Altoe's car on the screen for you as well. You can see exactly what gear is in, what revs he's pulling, what speed he's achieving, whether he's using the brake or he's using the throttle. And there are, you can See in that third gear up to 8,000 revs. Fourth right now, 170, 180, 190, make that 210 kilometers per hour before braking once again. Giacomo Altoe with less than 10 minutes plus 1 lap to do in the lead of this race to add to his tally of victories. If it stays this way, this will be his 5th victory in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. Meantime, Luca Ludwig, who had to serve that drive-through penalty, is now fighting Lilu with the next 2 in the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Championship. He's done a good job, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's true. He's back on the top of the categories, and I think now he must do the job to be back in top 5. But it will be not easy for sure, because I think they will defend like they can, and he need to pass them without doing any mistake. So it will be tough.
So there is Luca Ludwig. Do you find, I mean, you know, once you've had a drive-through penalty, whether you feel it's fair, whether you feel it is not fair, you know, as a racing driver, surely it makes you so angry. Does that give you a couple of 100s, a couple of 10s, because the adrenaline and anger is just driving you even quicker, Lilu?
Yeah, that depends of the person and of your reaction, but for sure, I think he must be really hungry in the car. It's not easy when you are first and you're after 11, you need to come back. But sometimes that can help you or not.
Yes, it could be a disadvantage.
But I think for this case, that helped him.
Yes,
So
well,
we
look
will see.
how close he is to Dylan Medler now. So Dylan Medler, who of course races not only here in Europe, but in North America as well. My goodness, if the cars were welded together, they couldn't be any closer as they are. Through the chicane now on the back of the circuit, just off the Mistral straight now. Luca Ludwig, who served a drive-through penalty, currently running P8. Make that P7, and Dylan Medler, who is P6, and Luca Ludwig trying to find a way past Dylan Medler now. Dylan Medler, the tallest driver in the Ferrari Challenge, I think. He's really having to defend. Of course, these cars don't have a rear view mirror internally. They have a screen and cameras at the back of the car project the widest image possible, so that Dylan Medler is going to be more than well aware of the fact that he has got Luca Ludwig right up his trumpet here. And Luca Ludwig is trying very hard to find a way by. What he's trying to do here is to get Dylan Medler to make a mistake, just lose concentration or focus just for a millisecond, and then like a viper ready to bite its prey, Luca Ludwig will be through. Can he do it going into turn number 1? Hanno Laskowski's right behind him as well. Let's watch this now as Luca Ludwig. Will he get any advantage of the stream off the back of the Dylan Medler car? Who is it going to be? King of the late breakers into turn number 1. Luca Ludwig, you can see the back end of the car getting a little bit loose there. He is trying, Lilu.
Yeah, he's trying, for sure. It's not easy. They are close to the same pace. He's a little bit faster, but it's not enough to overtake. But I think he wait the little mistake, the little oversee or deconcentration during 1 second if you look too much on the mirror to protect. And yeah, I think he wait this moment, and it's super close. He put the pressure. So we will see, but I think in this straight it will be good.
Well, it is providing extraordinary entertainment for us, isn't it? Giacomo Altoe leading from Benzvalen, then Timo Glock is P3. Luigi Coluccio is P4, then it is Philip Barron, and then we get to Dylan Medler and Luca Ludwig, which is where we are right now. This is for P6 in the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race. And well, this is really interesting because car number 91, who is running P5 in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, Philip Barron, he's got a time penalty of 5 seconds. That's going to elevate Dylan Medler and Luca Ludwig as well. So actually, some of this is helping Luca, isn't it, in terms of regain points that he will feel that he's lost in this race. I have to say, I'm really impressed with Dylan Medler in terms of how he's defending here. It's been a perfectly fair fight between the two of them, Lilu, and you're right, Luca Ludwig is a little bit quicker. It's all very well being a little bit quicker. You got to find a way by, and he's not been able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But for the moment, he defends really well. He's really good, but I think Luca Ludwig wait the little mistake And honestly, it's super hard to defend all the lap of the race like that. And we will see, but he's super close, and maybe we'll find the solution to overtake. And he knows it's super important point for him.
Yes.
So we will see what he can do. And but I think Dylan Medler never don't want to let Spat easy. So we will see.
I've been really impressed with Dylan. I've commentated on Dylan, of course, the European Championship that he's contested, but also North America. He and I, just a couple of weeks ago, were at the Watkins Glen circuit, which is so different to the circuit that we have here at Circuit Paul Ricard. And Dylan Medler, this is the best offensive driving I've seen from him. Philip Barron ahead of him has got a time penalty awarded as Luca Ludwig now dives to the inside of Dylan Medler going into this chicane. His racing room going to be left by both of them. That was a brilliant overtake from Luca Ludwig. I have to say, I think you're absolutely right, Lilu, in that he kind of rehearsed that for a few laps, didn't he? But then, when he made the decision he was going to go for it, he had to stick to it, didn't he?
Exactly. It was I think, the good moment to go, and that was super safe. Honestly, we see he fight for the championship because no risk, he take the time, and he go super safe. And yes, honestly, they do a really good job.
It's getting even better for him now because Timo Glock, the entertainer, who is currently running P3, is going to get a time penalty as well for track limits. So all of a sudden, that's really elevating Luca Ludwig up the order, isn't it? Because of the points that will be awarded once the time penalties are awarded. So this actually means that Luigi Coluccio will be P3. Timo Glock is P3 on track, but Timo Glock has got a time penalty to be awarded following track limits. Of course, track limits, presumably, Lilu, become more of a problem towards the end of the race because, of course, the tyres are not giving you the grip they did at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, it's true. For sure, every lap is worse and worse. You can imagine you start with new tyres, super fresh and ready for that. And with this temperature, you push every lap on the tyres more and more. And yeah, we are close to the end of the race, and it starts to be critical moment for that. You begin to be tired, and you need to manage the tires. So it's easy to do the little mistake of track limit now.
Well, the shape of this race has changed extraordinarily over the course of the 30 minutes plus one lap that the race duration is. Not only because of drive-through penalties and brilliant overtaking, but because of penalties that have been awarded as well. Klaus Sibranson leads in Trofeo Pirelli Am ahead of Hanno Laskowski and Andrew Morrow. And you can see the progress there. Now, Philip Barron had done a great job. He'd moved up 5 places, but awarded with a penalty for track limits. David Akabadze had moved up 10 places. The progress chart on the left-hand side of your screen is always really interesting to take a look at, particularly as we get to the closing stages of this race. But it has been an extraordinary race with lots and lots of storylines. Absolutely amazing. We're watching James Owen right now, who's trying to get onto the back of the Marco Zanazzi car. And Andrew Morrow is just ahead of Marco Zanazzi now. Andrew Morrow is the current Trofeo Pirelli UK champion, electing to race in Europe this year and has really enjoyed his Trofeo Pirelli Am racing here in Europe, but actually still really enjoying racing in the UK and has continued to do that as well. So just last weekend, this man was racing at Donington Park in the UK in temperatures which were nice, but nothing like as hot as here in the south of France. I can promise you that. We're British, you know. And there you can see the cars rounding the final turn, including the back end of the James Owen car, who's right on Marco Zanazzi now. This is for P4 in the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Am race. Giacomo Altoe leads in Trofeo Pirelli ahead of Bans Valint and Timo Glock on track, but Timo Glock has got a penalty which will elevate Luigi Coluccio into P3 if our reckoning is correct. Of course, everything will be confirmed come the end of the race once all the penalties have been awarded. So it has been an extraordinary race, and one that I've been really impressed, if I'm honest, with Luca Ludwig's comeback following his drive-through penalty for a jump start. But Giacomo Altoe a young driver, very cool, very calm, very collected, and seems to have a very, very adult head on him, and that's really important, isn't it, to try and keep you cool sometimes? I mean, you know, I'm very hot-headed and I get very, very angry. You know, presumably that doesn't give you an advantage necessarily.
Yeah, honestly, it's better to be calm and relax on the car, to be better mentally and physically, because we know it's 30 minutes is long with this temperature, and more you are calm and normal, easy it is. But for sure, Ludwig is good because he's back on the game, and he have the same lap time as Giacomo Altoe. So I'm little gutted because if they were together, it can be a good fight. They have close to the same pace, so we will see tomorrow maybe. But yeah, honestly, it's a really good fight since the start of the race, and it's really a high level because you know here it's not only the
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the fact that I've just seen that the driver that's running P4 in Trofeo Pirelli, Luigi Coluccio, he's just picked up a time penalty as well for track limits. So I'm not being, I need to work the calculations out here, depending on where they fit in terms of the time penalties. It's not beyond the possibility here that possibly, depending on how close he is, Luca Ludwig could end up on the podium, which seems extraordinary, but it's a possibility. I don't know. I need to work the times out, and I haven't got time to do it now because we're on the final lap. But, I mean, just when you thought this race did not have any more twists to the story, Lilu, then they go and give me it's like the race director is working as our fans at the moment in terms of giving us lots of storylines. Let's focus on Giacomo Altoe, who's done nothing wrong whatsoever. It's been another almost clinical race from him. And like so many young drivers now, Lilu, who realise that the Ferrari Challenge is a great place as a stepping stone for their career in racing and being part of the Ferrari family. Here in the Challenge, you get noticed by so many people. Really, really important. Giacomo Altoe then, doing a very, very good job. Let's split the screen so we could go inside the garage of Emil Frey Racing as well, as Giacomo Altoe has just got one more turn to do, and then he will head for home. And he will head for home and see the checkered flag awaiting him. And this is another win for the young star that is Giacomo Altoe. Well done to him. He takes the win. Next on the order, on track, is Benz Valint. Benz does not have any penalties to my knowledge, so Benz Valint should take P2 without any problems. Then it is Timo Glock, who has got a penalty. Klaus Sebranson will win for Trofeo Pirelli Am. Now, Luigi Coluccio, well, he ends up taking P4 in class, so Luca Ludwig takes P5 in class. So the gaps between those drivers was enough to prevent Luca Ludwig getting the podium, but it could have, if it'd been closer, it could have happened. My goodness me. Giacomo Altoe, Benz Valint, and Timo Glock. Now, Timo obviously had sufficient of a margin over Luigi Coluccio to maintain a podium place. I need to lie down after that race. It was your impact and your effect of being here with us. You know, you've given us one of the most entertaining Trofeo Pirelli races that we've seen this year. Giacomo Altoe, the winner.
No, honestly, it was a crazy race, and it's good because not a lot of mistakes. We don't see any. Just at the beginning of the race, a little crash, but it was close to nothing. No, they did a good race, honestly. For sure, Giacomo Altoe did a perfect race. Zero track limit, mega pace, and yeah, he deserved the victory. And like you said before, it's true. The Ferrari Challenge started to be really, really high level, and to give the opportunity to the driver to go in the best championship of the world, to help them to go. And we saw the last years a good driver go in different category and do amazing job.
And you know, you're a Ferrari factory driver, and you're a Ferrari factory driver because of your talent, no question about that. And what's really, really thrilling for people like me who are on the bit part of motor racing is, you know, when we see young drivers like yourself, like Nicholas Nielsen, who I've known since karting days, you know, make it and become so successful, richly deserved. I know you've got trophy presentation duties to do. Thank you so much for being on the air with us. Lilu Wudu, then, for Ferrari factory driver. Thank you. We'll let you go and get on with being sprayed by champagne on the podium. But thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Great pleasure. So, Giacomo Altoe then wins for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, and for Pirelli AM, it is Klaus Sebranson who is victorious. The top three that we'll be seeing on the podium: Giacomo Altoe, Ben Svalint, and Timo Glock for the Pirelli drivers. For the Pirelli AM drivers, Klaus Sebranson, Andrew Morrow takes P2, Marco Sanazzi P3. What a race. I need to calm down after that one, really I do. So many things going on. Drivers bringing the cars back into the pit lane right now. And it was a job trying to keep up with everything that was appearing on our screen at any given time, with really so much going on. But one driver who kept his cool, calm and collection together was Giacomo Altoe, and he jumps out of the car right now. Well done to him. He did everything that he needed to do. And yeah, he's pretty happy about that. He's a really, really charming young man as well. A great job done indeed by Giacomo Altoe, who's congratulated by the Emil Frey team, who of course have engineered a great car, and working alongside and watching alongside has been Nico Spalek. I mean, that's got to be one of the most entertaining Trofeo Pirelli races we've seen for a while as we get the results. 1, 2, 3, Giacomo Altoe, Ben Svalint, Timo Glock. For the AM drivers, Klaus Sebranson, Andrew Morrow, Marco Zanazzi. I mean, there was so much going on.
Yeah, it was non-stop and really, really entertaining. And you made the point that Luka Ludwig, it wasn't far out of beyond his reach for him to potentially reach a podium, but it wasn't to be eventually. But a really, really entertaining race, top to bottom, start to finish, and 6 podium finishes, all of them richly deserved. And Klaus Sebranson, I mean, he is going strong.
He is going strong, you know, and there he is, being congratulated. Just with the sunglasses there, Alan Jurgensen, who's like the original team boss of Formula Racing, back in the paddock. Nice to see you, Alan. Well done. And there is Ben Svalint with Benz's father, Tibor, to his right-hand side there. And Ben Svalint, then, it's a very good P2 for him. Well done. You can just see Timo Glock in the background as well, and Timo doing what Timo always does, and that's entertain throughout the race. And we'll be hearing from Giacomo Altoe in just a moment.
Important success for you here at Paul Ricard, from pole position to P1. Can you tell us more about your race of today?
Yeah, for sure. It's super hot, so it was not easy to handle the tire drop during the race. But then when I got some gap, I could manage a bit. So it was a really good race from us. I want to thank the team because they delivered me a great car. So the whole package is there. So I'm really happy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
See what I said about him being a nice young man. He's humble. He always thanks the team for delivering the car. There is Timo. Timo's been on the air with us on a number of occasions, and he's I'm blessed with having known him for a lot of years, and he is great fun on track, off track. And here is Klaus Sebranson.
Klaus, congratulations, a very important race and result for you for the championship standing. But now with you, I want to discover more about the strategy that you use and you decide with your team for this race.
We started off like I used to, try to do a good start, and then this time it just happened. I had a good clean start, and then from showing off from the previous sessions, we have a good race pace, so I know if I had the pace up and running, it all went well, and here we are. Great.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Well done to Klaus Sebranson. So the highlights of Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Race 1. It was a brilliant start from Luka Ludwig. Was it too brilliant a start from Luca Ludwig? Well, time would tell as we rode on board just what it was like riding on the Luigi Coluccio car then, with all of those drivers ahead. And so Luca Ludwig beginning to try and stretch his legs, and Timo Glock trying to make an overtake, and it was a good battle that was going on there. And eventually the cars would settle down, but not before one or two having something of a coming together. And unfortunately Hendrik Viol was involved in that as well. James Owen with a brilliant move on the inside here as he put himself ahead of Danilo Del Fabro. And James Owen looking very lively. So too Hanno Laskowski and Dylan Medler, of course, the American driver. And we can see as Dylan Medler in the number 15 car put himself to the inside there of Hanno Laskowski, making his way up the order. Now, Luca Ludwig, it was adjudged that he had jumped the start, so he got a drive-through penalty, and therefore he had to come all the way from the back of the pack then and to try and make up as many positions as possible. He was never going to threaten the race leader, Giacomo Altoe, that was for sure, but he put himself into a good points-hauling position in the end. But Giacomo Altoe would round the final turn and head towards the checkered flag and take yet another win for the Emil Frey Racing driver. He was applauded inside his garage, and it was Ben Svalint that took P2, and of course for the Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers it would be Klaus Sibranson who would be victorious. So Klaus Sibranson, the winner in Trofeo Pirelli Am, Giacomo Altoe, the winner in Trofeo Pirelli. Here are the race statistics then in Trofeo Pirelli. Top speed came from Luca Ludwig. Top speed in Trofeo Pirelli Am came from Gianmarco Marzioletti. So well done to them. Head up to the podium next. Max Michele Mambelli will be bringing the drivers out onto the podium. Here's Timo Glock, takes P3. Ben Svalint takes P2. And on the top step of the podium, it will be Giacomo Altoe. Here's Giacomo then. Heads to the top step of the podium. Time for the national anthem. The national anthem plays out, and trophy presentations to be made to our top three in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. Of course, the Emil Frey team represented. Lilu Vadu, the Ferrari factory driver, who very kindly was on air with us just a few moments ago, commentating on the race, makes the trophy presentation to Timo Glock, then to Ben Svalint, and of course, receiving the race winner's trophy, it will be Giacomo Altoe. The Copa Team Award will go to Emil Frey Racing. And of course, Giacomo Altoe will be in receipt of the Pirelli Award as well, presented by Lucio Fagani from the Pirelli organisation. Well done, Lucio. They all climb onto the podium then for photographs. Huddle up, chaps, if you will. Great photographs before the champagne is unleashed. It will be Glock that wins the champagne race. You wait and see. Told you. It came out of Timo's champagne bottle quicker than anybody else's, Nico. All right, didn't have quite the spray, but...
Yeah, but he intentionally waited, so he wanted to give everybody a fair chance, and, you know, that's Formula One experience.
Yeah, there you go. So, Ben Svalint, P2, in the number 86 car, engineered by Ferrari, Budapest and Rosso Corsa. However, for Emil Frey Racing, no mistaking the quality of their driving talent, which is Giacomo Altoe. He is victorious once again. In the Drivers' Championship, Giacomo Altoe He's leading the Drivers' Championship. Ignore the points. He's got more than that. But what I can tell you is, in the Drivers' Championship, Giacomo Altoe is leading the Trofeo Pirelli Drivers' Championship. Make no mistake of that. So there we have it. Giacomo Altoe from Bensville to Timo Glock. The result for our Trofeo Pirelli drivers. For the AM drivers, it was Klaus Branson, and we'll be seeing Andrew Morrow and Marco Zanazzi on the podium as well when we get to the Trofeo Pirelli AM podium, which is next. Michele Mambelli will be bringing the drivers out onto the podium. Oh, and there you can see there is quite some support for the driver of the number 69 car, Marco Zanazzi. His fan club is here in full effect, complete with air horns. Lovely to see. Yes. Marco Zanazzi, P3. Oh dear, that one needs a service, doesn't it, that air horn? Andrew Morrow then, the current Trofeo Pirelli UK champion. He takes P2. And Klaus Branson, who's on a rich vein of form at the moment. And he goes to the top step of the podium. Well done, Klaus. He's congratulated by Andrew and also by Marco Zanazzi. He climbs to the top step of the podium. And here comes the national anthem. Neil, one of Andrew's race engineers, taking a photograph of his driver up there on the podium. And here comes the trophies to be presented. Of course, the Formula Racing team. Here is Tor from Formula Racing. Tor and I were having a conversation a little while ago because he was a racing driver as well. And we were trying to ascertain whether I actually commentated on one of his races, but I didn't. He raced a year after I'd been fired from that championship. There we go. Trophies presented to Marco Zanazzi, to Andrew Morrow by Lilou Vadou, the Ferrari factory driver who makes the P1 race-winning trophy presentation to Klaus Branson. There's Tor then from Formula Racing, who receives the Copa Teams trophy. And of course, Lucio Vigani making the Pirelli Trophy Award to Klaus Branson as well. So all the drivers up there on the podium. Lift up your trophies. Thank you. Right, there we are, trophies awarded then and presented. I think it might have been Andrew Morrow the quickest on the champagne. I didn't quite see the start of that. Well done to all the drivers then. P3 for the CDP Panetti Motorsport team. It's Marco Zanazzi then taking P3. P2 for Charles Hurst and Andrew Morrow. And P1 for the Formula Racing driver Klaus Branson. Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM Race 1 done. Here at the Paul Ricard circuit, La Castellet, south of France. And a Trofeo Pirelli AM Drivers' Championship being led by Klaus Branson. So, Drivers' Championship for Trofeo Pirelli AM. And of course, another race to come for our Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers tomorrow. More importantly, or as importantly, is the fact that they've got to qualify their cars tomorrow morning as well. So, of course, qualification critically important because of where you place yourself on the grid to give you the best possible start into race 2. Qualifying will be tomorrow morning when temperatures will be a little bit cooler. Yes, both the Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers will have to qualify tomorrow to set the grid for their race to come tomorrow afternoon. It will be race 2. And there we have it then. Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM race 1 is completed. Thanks so much to the Ferrari factory driver Lilu Radu for joining us on the in the commentary studio. Thanks to Nico Spalek, and yes, thank you to you for watching. We have a Covershell AM race still to come, but for now, from Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM and the Ferrari Challenge, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.